What is up, Netflix fans, and welcome back to my channel. I just watched Mute. So Mute is the brand new Duncan Jones directed flick starring Alexander Skarsgård and a very solid and talented supporting cast. And your basic premise here is a mute bartender goes up against the city's gangsters in an effort to find out what happened to his missing partner. And if I sound a little funky today, I'm starting to get the allergies, you know, the changing of the seasons and the throat's getting sore, and it sucks. It really does. Be sure to show some love and like this video if you guys like my reviews and Netflix reviews. That kind of keeps me going. It keeps this channel running. And I woke up super early to watch this movie this morning, so let's talk about it. Duncan Jones is a director who I was a huge fan of back in the day, it seems like. Source Code and Moon are two of the most creative and enjoyable movies I have seen in the last 2 decades. I never actually got to watch Warcraft. I know that's crazy, but Mute is my follow-up to those two previous films, so I had a lot of hope going in, especially after seeing the concept. Now, the trailer didn't sell me as well as I wanted it to, but the idea was really cool. And as always, I like to talk about the good, the bad, and then give you my score. Let's talk about the good. If you ask me, Austin, what's the coolest thing about Mute? I would definitely say the production design. This is a beautiful, beautiful movie. The sets are gorgeous. The way that it looks is really cool. Now, at times it gets a little bit too dark and too dreary. It tries its best to be like Blade Runner, but I feel like it didn't quite reach those levels when it comes to looks. But it still looks really good, and the shots are really well done here. While this is definitely the weakest Duncan Jones film that I have seen anyway, I do think that there are shades here of what he did with movies like Moon and Source Code. He does some interesting things, especially some interesting camera techniques that I thought were really cool, but the way that he handles his characters, while they're not the strongest written characters in the world, he still does a good job at getting good performances out of everybody, even if I don't gravitate necessarily to those specific characters. Alexander Skarsgård, I don't think his performance knocked it out of the park like I wanted it to, but he himself, not the character, he does a good job here. He does really all that he can for a character that doesn't say anything. Paul Rudd, I was worried. You get him in serious roles. Sometimes he delivers, and sometimes maybe not so much. But this movie, he did a really good job. He took that character, and I believe he gave him some depth and some things that maybe he wouldn't have had with a less experienced actor. I'm starting to really, really love Paul Rudd in almost every movie that he's been in the last few years. It's a movie that's visually nice, and it's good enough to entertain some, but, it's kind of incredible to me that this movie comes from the same guy who brought us Moon, because Moon was so different, so creative. It's something that we've never seen before. Mute is something that we have seen multiple times over and over and done so much better than this. This takes elements of different movies, but it doesn't do enough to shift those elements into something new. It takes those elements and it keeps the parts that we really don't love from movies maybe that we don't love, and it just kind of puts it all together in one big jumbled film. It's disjointed. It takes what's so creative about this concept and it just kind of applies every formulaic writing technique that we have seen over the last 10-15 years. Nothing new here, guys. And there are so many different storylines that just never come back and never tie up in the way. Now, some of these storylines do tie up and you get the results I think that you were looking for in the main point as an audience member, but these other storylines and these other characters, I feel like most of them were a waste, and I feel like these storylines never came together as you want them to. It's a weird narrative. It shifts back and forth between different points of views, and I don't think it really should have. I think if the focus could have been more on Alexander Skarsgård's character, that would have helped the film very much. And every element of the plot feels like it has a greater purpose to it, but it just never swings back around at the end, and you do not get the satisfaction you're looking for in the third act. Look, I like Justin Theroux. I do, as an actor, but his character, Duck, is one of the most annoying, disgusting creeps of a character, and I know that's how he's supposed to be. I just feel like they wrote this character to be too unlikable. Not unlikable as, oh, you're a villain. Unlikable as, I mean, the pedophilia aspect, it's not really a spoiler, but there are some things that this character does that's disgusting and gross, and I just did not want to keep watching this movie because of that character. And it's not really his fault, but even the way that he acts when this character is on screen, it just feels weird, and he says babe and baby so much, and it's just so creepy. While it's not a horrible movie, in my opinion, Mute is one of the most disappointing sci-fi films that I've watched in quite some time. Not just because of the odd character choices and the plot lines that really never go anywhere, and because the first act is so slow. I tuned out so many times and I had to catch myself. Austin, pay attention. You have to review this movie. And you get to the ending. Sure, there are some good parts in there. It's just you've set up so many storylines at this point. I am not satisfied with what you've given me on screen, and I left the movie. Well, I stopped watching the movie because it was on Netflix. I have to say I was disappointed, and I'm going to give Mute a 48%. It's not a horrible movie in my opinion. It's just not one that I want to come back to, and an experience that I wanted more out of. But if you liked Mute, I completely understand that, because there are elements in here and some gorgeous visuals in here that could definitely keep someone entertained. So thank you guys so much for watching this review. If you did not see it, my Annihilation review is up right now on this channel. Go check that out. And later on today, I will be reviewing Game Night. I've heard some great things about that movie, so I'm very excited. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you for watching all of my videos and subscribing and liking. I will catch you guys later.